Alex is like, I will fix this.
Yeah.
Right?
So she takes off.
Running across campus.
We've just learned that she's hardcore because she
Yeah.
died, and she put Salome in a headlock, and
Yeah.
so we're like, oh, I wonder what she's gonna do.
Oh, she gets even.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, welcome to Zebadextra v. Phebo.
Yes, thanks for having me on your podcast today.
Absolutely. I love special guest stars. You guys may know her from other podcasts on Zebadextra v. Phebo,
Yeah.
as well as from Moonshine Manny, and also Stitchery Ditchery Doo. What do you call that?
Sure, sounds good. I'm surprised I didn't take that name.
You should have. Stitchery Ditchery Doo. That's a good one. So today we're discussing a book. This book was picked by Phebo.
Yeehaw!
Yeehaw indeed.
What's the name of the book?
So this book is called The Ninth House by Leigh Barugo.
Mm-hmm.
Barugo, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
So this book is about the occult and the secret societies in Yale. This book basically takes place as what's called the Lethe House. Lethe or Leafy?
Leith.
Leith. Lethe. Okay, so it's the Lethe House, and they're kind of like the paranormal police for all these different secret societies. They help make sure that when the secret societies are doing their various shenanigans.
Dastardly deeds.
Okay, I could go with dastardly deeds as well.
That doesn't get too out of hand.
It doesn't get too out of hand, and innocent people don't get hurt.
Mm-hmm. That goes real well.
It does. It does.
Okay.
Not.
So thank you for that spoiler-free
Yes, absolutely. I'm glad
synopsis.
I'm glad I could assist with that.
So since I'm the person who recommended this book, Tim will be leading us through our discussion today.
I will. Today's discussion will be led by Tim,
aka Zebadextra.
Zebadextra.
All right, let's get into it.
Okay.
This book is tasty.
So this book is...
Oh, wait. Liked it, loved it, meh, or hated it?
I'm going to go meh.
Really? You were very meh?
It was
okay,
kind of
I
meh
liked
for
it.
me.
I liked it.
I mean, there were parts of it I liked, but overall it was kind of meh.
What was better, this or Book Lovers?
Oof. Oh.
Man, if you're not really into the romance, this doesn't have any romance.
This does not have any romance. And honestly, this is a book that I wanted to like because it's like, sci-fi, fantasy kind of thing. I could not get into the occult thing, though.
Okay.
It wasn't my cup of tea.
All right, so let's get going.
Absolutely. So this book is based around two main characters. The first person is Galaxy Stern, but she is called Alex throughout the book. The other main character is Daniel Arlington, the third, we will find out later. But everybody calls him Darlington. Darlington is codenamed Dante. Right? Do I have it backwards?
I think she's Dante.
Oh, that is true. Alex's codename is...
Start that sentence over.
What was I saying?
Darlington is codenamed...
So Darlington is codenamed Damn it. So Darlington is codenamed Virgil, and Alex is codenamed Dante. So everybody in this book has...
Yeah, why do they need the code names?
Well, because it's secret society stuff.
Yeah, and different people fill the roles from year to year, but they always have the same role.
The same name.
Yeah.
For that particular role. Alex is not actually supposed to be at Yale. You find that out really early on.
You mean she's not a studious person? Like, she didn't get into Yale from her studies?
Right.
Okay.
Right. The reason she got into Yale is because she can see gray ghosts.
I see dead people.
Yes, so does Alex Stern.
Yeah.
Stern. Um, I will say, if you're going to read this book, um, you need to give it at least 30 minutes.
Oh, you should just read the whole thing.
No. I'm saying you should realize that it's not all in
It's not linear.
Spanish
Oh,
or
it starts in Latin.
Latin. Yeah, so it's in Latin to begin with, and I'm like,
Yeah.
wait, did I order the wrong book?
Yeah, that's true.
Um,
We were listening to it. That's why we weren't aware of that happening.
right.
Yeah.
Right. Because had I started reading it in Latin, I probably would have skipped ahead to see.
Yeah.
Is this all in Latin?
And then the other confusing thing is it jumps forward and backward in time from spring to winter, from spring to
Yeah,
winter.
it jumps back and forth, but also it does it jumps back and forth between Alex's and Darlington's point of view.
Which I actually really like. I love it when there's two
Um,
narrators.
I didn't mind that so much. The problem I had with it is, like, you hate the term, and I'm not allowed to use it anymore. But we started
How can
at the
everything
end.
be Tarantino effect?
We started at the end, went to the beginning,
Yeah, we
hopped around to the pre-beginning,
did. Yeah.
and then came back to the present to go to the future.
Yeah. But to be fair, every single time they jump, they tell you where you're at. They're like spring, and then they jump back to winter, and it's always her point of view in the winter, right?
You know what? That I did not catch. That I did not catch.
Yeah, he always is talking when it's. Anyway, okay. So chapter 1.
Okay, so chapter 1. This starts at a skull and bones prognostication ceremony.
Yeah, and it's like, what is going on here?
Yeah, and I'm like, wait, Phoebe did not like the gore and the blood and the bones of my book, and yet literally in chapter 1 they're digging through this guy's innards.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah.
So they're in like a surgery theater, and she's there watching these guys that aren't surgeons. They've got this guy's intestines open, and they're doing some prognostication using that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's her job while she's there?
She is a guardian of the gate. She's to keep the Greys.
Guardians of the Galaxy?
No.
What a shame.
No, it's Galaxy the Guardian.
Yeah, Galaxy the Guardian.
So anyhow, things do go awry.
Because
you don't know.
There's like a big force coming in, and she's supposed to stop it, but she doesn't know what she's doing.
Yeah, she hears like this big bong, bong noises, and the Greys are trying to get into the thing, and
so Greys are the other word for ghosts.
Yes.
And ghosts are attracted to like blood,
anything
excitement,
of life. Anything of life.
Yeah.
And the way to keep them at bay is to use death words. They use a lot of different poems.
Like grave dirt too, right?
Yes, the ashes from bones, the actual dirt from the
cemetery.
The cemetery, yeah.
So she and Darlington are there to keep the ghosts from coming too close to this prognostication.
Correct.
Because somebody's paid them to do this, and so they need to get it done right or something.
So Lethe House is they're like I said, the metaphysical police. So they kind of monitor and make sure no one's doing routines that are outside of what's authorized, and they're also there to protect everybody from magic gone astray.
Isn't it kind of hilarious? Like the whole world depends on what's going on there at Yale, and they've got a college freshman that's supposed to like be in making sure nothing bad happens. I just think it's funny. Like since this is such an important thing to all these people, you'd think they'd have some really good.
Well, so yes, Dante, also known as Alex, is a freshman. She's an incoming freshman. But Virgil Darlington is an outgoing senior. And so they have the senior
like mentoring
and training
yeah.
the freshmen throughout their first year. So in chapter 2, we kind of jump back to the past, and this is going to be going backwards and forwards like continually. And we're with Darlington's point of view, and he is going through all of the entry packets for all the incoming freshmen to pick his new Dante. As he's about halfway through, though, he is told that they have picked a new Dante for him because they found Alex, and Alex has been able to see grays since she was a child.
Mm-hmm.
So Darlington is a little upset because of the fact that he was actually looking forward to picking his Dante, his Alex. Then we slip over into chapter 3.
Mm-hmm.
He's taking her. I can't remember which house it was. One of their safe houses, and he speaks a word, and these jackals come running out and are snarling and attacking her. And at first she panics, and then she starts yelling at Darlington to call them off.
So he's doing that to show her the magic exists, right?
Right. That's
but
one of the ways.
It's also kind of like a tease, right?
It should also be noted somewhere in here. I'm not exactly sure where in the timeline. Darlington takes these moths out of a box and places them on Alex's arms, and the ink from her tattoos is drawn up into the moths.
Yeah, Alex is covered, full sleeves and her whole body, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, and so
she wants to fit in a little bit better, right?
Yeah, I don't think she even mentioned anything about it, but he did this, and
he was like, do you want to get rid of those tattoos or something like that?
Yeah, and yeah, so she got to see the magic working, and so now she understands. At the end of chapter 4, there's a murder, and
a mid.
Yes. So she gets a call from Pam Dawes. I can't remember what her code name is. They want her to go look into it.
Just to make sure there's nothing supernatural.
Just make sure that there's nothing supernatural with it. And so she has this feeling as she's looking at the murder that like there's something that may be supernatural about it. And so she wants to look into it more. She sends in the report to Dean Sandow, who is the one that recruited her for Lethe House, and he tells her to stand down and rest easy.
Yeah, he's like, they've already got the murderer, don't worry about it.
Right. It's her boyfriend. It's this girl's boyfriend.
Yeah.
There's a teacher named Bellbaum, and this teacher asks to meet her.
She's like her English teacher?
I don't know. To be honest,
some kind of teacher, and she's worried about her grades.
Yeah, and so she wants Alex to meet with her. And Bellbaum asks her what she wants from Yale. And Alex can't really reply.
Because she's not there for studying. Yeah, so she can't say that.
Yeah, and Bellbaum tells her that she sees that Alex is hungry and asks her to work for her over the summer. So Alex is considering it to be able to catch up, and she realizes if she's able to catch up, then she's going to actually be able to do the whole Yale thing and get the Yale education. So then we go to the next chapter, and this one is now from Darlington's point of view, which obviously is in the past.
Because he wasn't around.
Right.
She just keeps saying he went to Spain.
He went to Spain.
People think he went to Spain.
Yeah. So that's like one of the things you pick up on early on is that this Darlington, they have no idea where he's at. So anytime you hear me talking about Darlington, it's sometimes in the past.
Yeah.
So with this, he's taking Alex to a procedure. As he's there, he has to take what's called a Hiram's bullet. Basically, a Hiram's bullet is an elixir that you can create using this...
The crucible.
The crucible. It's Hiram's crucible. And it's just this big gold bowl, and you can make your potions in it, and it allows them, an ordinary person, to be able to see grays.
Mm-hmm.
Alex and Darlington are there to protect the ceremony. Alex accidentally smears the circle because they have to put that circle in.
Yeah.
And she's supposed to protect like north and east, and he's doing west and south, or some combination of that.
And she doesn't have confidence in like her death words or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Because whenever you see a gray coming, you're supposed to speak the death words, and she's not doing a good job because she's scared of the grays, right?
She's absolutely afraid of the grays.
And they also tell her don't look straight at them because then they're going to form an attachment, and you don't want them to like be coming for you all the time.
And never speak their name. Mm-hmm. Anything like that will form an attachment with these grays. So Darlington helps her to stave off the grays that are rushing at her and past her. And this is one of the places where you start to get the feeling, you realize she's really afraid of these grays, because they just like bowl her over, and she's just kind of laying on the ground whimpering while it happens. Then Darlington and Alex, they argue about what happened. Darlington realizes that Alex hadn't chosen the wrong path in life, but she had been chased by the dead. And so all the things in her past, because like in her past you find out like she was a druggie, she was a prostitute, she was...
Is she a prostitute?
She was for Len. There were a couple of times where they talk about her solving Len's problems by,
So her boyfriend used her body to do what he wanted, to get what he wanted, the drugs and the different stuff.
Right.
And did she find that when she was on drugs, she wouldn't see as many grays? Is that why?
I believe that had something to do with it, or the fact that when she was on it, like she was just number.
So it didn't bother her as much?
Yeah, so it didn't bother her as much. The next chapter, we're back to Darlington missing, and Alex decides she's going to start probing into this girl, Tara Hutchinson's murder. So she goes to the Leigh House library. She has this flashback when she's there, and it's about when she had made a friend finally in school. That's when she got her first period. Remember, grays are drawn to blood, and so she was found laying on the ground in the bathroom, screaming. It was because the gray was actually molesting her.
She's like 12.
Somewhere around there. I thought she was a little older than that.
But like everyone sees her in the bathroom, she's covered in blood, and she's looking like she's being attacked, but they can't see anything.
Right. She loses her only friend at that point. It was also at this point in time she met Len, and they went out and they partied a lot. She ends up getting arrested. After she was arrested, she like broke out of the cop car, and then she went and lived with Len. Right. So she was living with him from about the age of 15. Okay. So that's it for that flashback, and then we're back where she tells Dawes that Dawes needs to go with Alex to the morgue. She wants to look at Tara's body.
Yeah, and Dawes is like the Leafy secretary. She's like the assistant.
Right.
She keeps track of stuff and tells them where to go.
Alex uses a spell on Tara's body that shows her kind of what happened. And she sees that there was no pain.
Oh.
So Tara felt no pain while she was being stabbed 14 times in the heart?
Yeah, a lot.
Detective Turner shows up, and he is Centurion. She met with him earlier where Tara's body was found.
He's the one member of the police force that actually knows about the secret societies.
Right. He's actually paid by the secret societies. Alex asks Detective Turner what they were on, because she knows that Tara wasn't feeling any pain when she got killed. So she finds out from Detective Turner that Lance was on hallucinogens.
Okay.
Then we move to the next chapter. And this is where Alex is taking Darlington's car, and she goes to, is it Black Elm?
His house?
Uh-huh. And she's looking for him, and she sees all the lights are on, and she's like really hopeful that it's him there, and she finds out he's not there. Then she sends Dean Sandow a report on Tara's murder.
Okay.
Then she's heading back to town, and she stopped at like a convenience store. She was at a convenience store, and she gets attacked by what's called a gluma.
Oh yeah.
And like this gluma like smashes her head into the case, and
she's like, "You can't. You're not supposed to be able to touch me, right?"
Yeah. She's all confused about it, and to everybody else, it looks like this girl is just like smashing her own head into the glass case, and there's like blood everywhere, and um, the gluma, they're fighting, and she ends up in the middle of the street, and the gluma actually like spews a red.
Oh yeah,
red,
like a red dust or something.
Yeah, red dust into her face.
Like down her throat, right?
And well, it's just like into her face at first, and right after that happens, another gray comes and attacks the gluma, and this gray is called the bridegroom. He's a well-known ghost.
The notorious ghost of Yale.
In this city of New Haven.
Yes, he was a murderer.
Yes, he murdered his fiance and then killed himself. Alex realizes she has one chance, so she starts running towards the hutch, which is one of their safe houses where Dawes helps get Alex back into the hutch.
So there's like a ward around the house so the undead can't go there.
Right, there are wards on the house. We find out that glumas are book and snake.
Yeah, she didn't know what it was, but Pam said that was a gluma.
That was a gluma, right. Then we cut over to chapter 10, where we are with Darlington again, and...
So she doesn't get fixed up before we cut over?
No, nope,
Okay.
She's just laying there with beetles eating her.
Oh, it's beetles?
Remember?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, that's what, like, happens, like, the beetles are eating her insides.
Oh.
But in chapter 10, we just avoid that for a minute.
Okay, yeah, we just go back in time.
We're just going back in time.
We gotta go back.
Okay. So we're at what's called a manuscript party.
Oh, no.
Manuscript is one of the houses.
Then they're like the partiers, right?
Yes, kind of. Yeah.
And all the regular students in Yale love to go to the manuscript parties because they're crazy.
They are
crazy.
This
was on Halloween, right?
Yes, this was on Halloween, and one of the things they talked about is the manuscript party on Halloween. The energy from it fuels their magic for the entire year.
And Darlington and Galaxy have to go because they have to make sure they're not doing anything sus. Right.
This is where as soon as they get to the party, Darlington starts kind of mind wandering into further back in time. So not only are we back in time, we're back in time to his childhood when he realized one of the kids that he was playing with could see ghosts as well. And that's when he realized that magic really did exist in the world. And that's kind of what set Darlington on his path.
Yeah.
One of the things that they mentioned is manuscript magic is about changing perceptions.
Okay.
So it's kind of like glamoring things. And there are 9 levels.
9 levels in that house?
In the tombs of manuscript. But Darlington didn't realize it, but he was actually glamored as he was going down the levels.
Yeah.
Because somebody had put the...
they walked through like this fog machine thing or something.
Yeah, it was like a fog machine that hit him.
Yeah.
And so he got glamored.
And it had magic in it.
It did. And
why didn't Alex get glamored? Did she not walk through it?
She didn't walk through it. It just hit him.
Okay.
And
so he starts tripping and doesn't realize that he's tripping.
Yeah, and he sees Alex as Queen Mab.
Yeah.
And he's like trying to worship her.
Yeah.
And he's like sliding his hands up her thighs, and she's like, "Stop it! Stop it! Stop it!"
Yeah, like they had no kind of relationship like that before now, and all of
Yeah.
a sudden he's just like obsessed with her.
Yeah, and it was cute. They found out that the fog machine had drugged him,
Yeah.
and so she takes him away from the party.
Okay.
So they don't even attend the
Oh,
ceremony.
so they're not even there to do what they're supposed to do.
Right.
Because he's
So
all
they
messed up.
right. So now we wake up. Alex wakes up. She's at the hutch right after the attack. She drinks what Dawes gives her, and it helps.
So we're back to the part where she's just been attacked by the Gluma.
She's just been attacked by the Gluma.
And Dawes gives her this disgusting drink, right?
Very disgusting. Yeah.
But it actually helps the beetle.
Yeah, but Dawes is like, well, it's either that or let the beetles eat you alive.
Yeah.
Up to you. And this is where Alex realizes, because up until this point, her interactions with Dawes have all been kind of one-sided.
Yeah.
They don't really talk much or do anything together. She feels like Dawes has her head up Darlington's butt.
Dawes is obsessed with Darlington.
Yeah. And because Alex is not Darlington, there's like a rub there.
Yeah.
But what she realizes here is that Dawes enjoys helping.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. Then she also sees the bridegroom who's outside the hutch, keeping an eye on her.
Mm.
And Alex is like, "Look, Dawsy baby, Dawsy doozy. Let's not be telling the old man, Dean Sandow, okay?
About the Gluma? She doesn't want him to know?
She's like, let's just keep this on the DL. Then Dean Sandow is there, and he's talking to them about trying to bring Darlington back. So now you know he's disappeared. He's alive.
Well, they don't know that. I don't
they
think
think
know that.
he's alive.
They're going to do a ritual to see if they think he is, right?
Right. This is where Alex tells Sandow that she thinks Book and Snake raised the Gluma.
Yeah.
Because she was investigating them for Tara Hutchins, her murder. Dean Sandow tells her that they need to tread carefully. This is one of the financiers, and Lethe House is financed by the other 8 houses.
So if they don't get financed, she won't get financed, and then so they have to not upset the other houses.
Yeah, basically. So Alex is like, okay, I want to talk to Tara. And Dawes tells her that only Wolf's Head would be able to help her talk to the dead. And in the next chapter, we start out by Alex knowing how to get Wolf's Head's help.
Ooh, how?
So it turns out one of the other groups had stolen a statue from Wolf's Head, and Wolf's Head really wants it back. She saw it at the
manuscript party, right?
Was it manuscript?
I think so.
Yeah, so she saw it there, and so she goes back in, she nicks it, then she goes to Wolf's Head, and she meets a person named Salome.
Okay.
And she returns the statue to Salome, and Salome's part was she was supposed to let them into this, into their temple.
Okay.
And Salome's like,
psych,
just kidding.
Yeah.
And little does Salome know, she's not just dealing with any average normal Yale student. Alex has a rough past.
Alex is hardcore.
So
but we don't really know that till now.
Yeah. So Alex puts her in a headlock.
Yeah.
Right? And threatens her. And Salome's like, you can't do that. You can't do that. And Alex is like, watch me. And so Salome gives her the key. And Alex, for the first time, feels good at Yale.
Woohoo!
Yeah, finally. Gets to beat up the Yale girls. So they go into the temple, Dawes and Alex. And now Alex has to cross into the world of the dead.
Oh, yeah, I like this part. I guess I thought it was more like figurative.
Oh, no, it's quite literal.
Yeah, she has to die.
Yeah, so basically, Pammy Dawes has to hold her head under the water till Alex drowns.
And then that's when you were like, whoa, okay, Dawes. So she holds her under the water.
Right, right. This is where she meets the bridegroom.
Because she wakes up in the river?
Yeah, she's like in the river. It's like an Egyptian Nile river that she wakes up in. And
the bridegroom's just like standing there by her?
Yeah, he meets her. He's like walks like halfway through the water to meet her, and she has to meet him because the river is death, and so she actually has to meet him in the middle of the river, and they can talk.
So she went there to talk to Tara, but he shows up instead, right?
Well, she wanted to get his help to find Tara.
Oh, okay, because he's already helped her once, so she figured he
would
help her
right. So she's asking him to go find Tara for her. And he requires something in return, because he's been blamed for what 150 years.
Yeah, he's like, I didn't actually kill my fiance.
Yeah, I didn't kill her, and I want you to find out who did.
Yeah.
Who killed his fiance and him?
Right.
Because they were both killed
Solve
at the same
my
time.
Murder.
Yeah, solve my 150-year-old murder.
I can't believe you didn't like this book. It's so twisty and murderous and mysterious.
The bridegroom tells her that Darlington was looking into it as well.
Oh, yeah.
And he has a notebook that he was keeping.
Alex didn't know. So Alex has to go get something of Tara's in order for the bridegroom to find her.
Right. Yeah, so she has to go find something of Tara's with a flumen?
I think it just says fluids.
Well, no, they called it efflumen. Which is basically any
Can we please name our next dog Flumen?
Efflumen.
Efflumen. Oh, Efflumen.
Efflumen.
Oh, that makes so much more sense now.
Efflumen. Efflumen. And then she's like struggling to get out of the river, and the crocodiles aren't allowed to, they can't actually attack her, but they can like kind of make it difficult for her to get out, and they're like hitting her with their tail to knock her back into the river. Because if she stays in the river, she dies for good. Yeah. But she eventually gets out of the bank and she awakens in the temple.
Okay.
Whew. Safe.
In the temple? Like back where Dawes is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, where else would she wake?
I don't know.
That's
I
where
don't
her
think they
body
call
is.
it a temple, do they? That's like the house, the hutch house, right?
No, they're in the they're in the Wolf's Head Temple.
That's right. Okay.
Yes. So Darlington wakes up after the manuscript party. Darlington then kind of goes back in time again, even further, and he's thinking about his parents and his granddad. And the best way to describe his parents, he calls them layabouts.
That's because that's what the grandpa called them.
Yeah, because they don't really have any direction in life.
They didn't really want a son. They just want the grandpa's money.
Yeah.
So the grandpa ends up raising Darlington.
And the only time that
they come around
is to get money. Yeah. This is where Darlington starts spending time studying the macabre. Do you like that? I threw that in.
I don't think that's how you say it.
How do you say it? Macabre?
Macabre. I don't think you put the R in there.
Okay, but I do.
Is it the macabre or is it the occult?
Oh, the macabre.
Oh my gosh. How about the Alhambra?
It's French. Les macabres.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so he starts studying the occult.
That's what I just said, isn't it?
No.
Aren't they like similar? Macabre
means like stuff like death. Occult is more like studying supernatural things.
When his grandfather dies, he inherits Black Helm, and then he brews an elixir and barely survives.
Oh, why does he to see dead people?
Yes, he's trying. Yeah, he's trying to use his macabre talents.
Does he actually be able to see any dead person at that time?
No, but he also almost became one of them.
So he's left with this house. He's a child. He has no way of paying for it.
Correct.
So he doesn't have his guardians. He won't open the door when they come to like see him or whatever.
Right. I think that's later on.
Oh, whoops, sorry.
I think. Or maybe I just
But
skipped all of that.
He's been left this house, but he has to like pay to keep the lights on and all this stuff. So he has to figure out how to be a man all by himself.
Yeah,
and
so
take care of this
he
house.
takes a bunch of jobs.
Because his house is like his family.
Yeah.
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 He loves his house.
Loves that house. And then after he wakes up in the hospital, Dean Sandow is there with an offer.
Oh, okay.
And that's when he becomes Deontay.
Wow.
Deontay.
Okay, Deontay.
Alex describes her death to Dawes. And she decides to go to Tara's apartment. And one thing that she recalls during this whole thing is when she was dead, she could hear the dead sigh, like, and she thought they were saying Jean Dumont.
Okay.
Jean Dumont.
Okay.
Anyhow.
So she has to go to Tara's house because she has to look for something with the
effluvia.
Effluvia.
I hope that is what they actually say in the book.
That doesn't matter.
So she steals Tripp's bike to go see Detective Turner. She meets him at Union Station.
Okay.
And she tells him that she wants to talk to Lance. Now, this is just a ruse. Because, what? You like that? You like the accents up there?
You with your pronunciation today.
Ruse. It was a ruse, I tell you.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Anyhow, so it was just a ruse. She tells Detective Turner names that Tara was dealing to.
Okay.
Right? And then she gets Tara's street name from Turner. He doesn't realize he gave it up. Mercy, she goes back to her apartment. Mercy is crying.
Mercy is her roommate.
Her roommate, yes. And the other roommate, I can't remember her name at this moment. Obviously, she was very pivotal to the book. Mm-hmm. She's yelling at Alex, "Where were you? Where were you? Where were you?" Apparently, Mercy and Alex were supposed to go to a party together. Alex was fighting death, but she can't really tell her roommates that. And so Mercy went by herself with this other group of people who left her there. Mm-hmm. And it turns out that there's a video of her being abused by two of the frat guys there. And so Alex is like, let me see the video. And as she's watching the video, she realizes that Mercy has a blue tongue.
Yeah.
So she has a blue tongue, and she knows that the blue tongue comes from Meredy.
Because she saw it at the manuscript party.
At the manuscript party. So when you take Meredy, it automatically makes you susceptible. It actually turns you into a servant.
Yeah.
Willing to please and do anything that you're told to do.
Yeah.
In this case, she was raped.
Yeah, and this jock named Blake, who's also like a model or something. He's like famous on top of just being a hot jock at Yale.
Something like that. Yeah. Alex is like, I will fix this.
Yeah.
Right.
So she takes off.
Boom, 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 chicka boom, chicka boom, 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 boom. Running across campus.
We've just learned that she's hardcore because she died, and she put Salome in a headlock, and so we're like, oh, I wonder what she's gonna do.
So she goes to Manuscript House and she says, look, you guys owe me because I did not report you and get you shut down as a house, even after what you did to Darlington. She wants them to fix the video issue.
Okay.
Which somehow through a seance or some sort of circle swearing they can do.
They can like erase it from wherever it's gone as long as it's not like
on the cloud. Yeah. And
but she has to go get it off the actual source, right?
She has to go and make sure it hasn't been like uploaded a million times or something. Otherwise their super seance won't work.
Mm-hmm. Obviously.
So one of the other things that's key to note here is the Meredy
Mm-hmm.
is it's a manuscript only drug, but somehow Blake now has
Blake
access
is
to.
not a supernatural student.
He is not.
He's not a member
He's
of
a
one of
super
the
stupid
houses.
student. Alex goes to confront Blake.
At his frat house.
Right, and was it Stardust she takes? It makes her all glittery and everybody wants to do everything to please her.
Anyone she talks to that hears her voice will do what she says.
Anything she says. Gives her his phone.
Mm-hmm.
She finds out who he sent it to. She deletes all of the porn off of his phone.
Oh, it's not porn.
Well, a lot of it is porn.
It's his own videos of his
rape
attacks.
Porn.
Yeah, but it's not porn. It's his own attacks. It's like footage of his crimes.
She deletes the whole thing so that he can't use it against any of them again. And then she has an idea. And
so that must mean that he's been getting Meredy for a while and using it a
bunch.
bunch.
Right. And she asks him where he's been getting his Meredy from, and he tells her it's a forestry student. And then she has an idea, and instead of telling you right here, we're going to cut to the next scene where Alex goes with Mercy. They're all eating chow. Everybody starts laughing, and they all think that they're laughing at Mercy.
Because they're looking at their phones, and she's like, oh, great, they found the video.
Yeah, they found the video. And one of the other students comes over and sits by the other roommate, and he's like, oh my goodness, this is so hilarious. And they're like, wow, you are so rude.
Yeah.
And then their phones start dinging too, and it's a video of Blake, and someone's in the camera, or not in the camera, but is filming it, and is like, so Blake, why don't you eat poop?
Out of the toilet.
Out of the toilet. And so he like reaches in and he eats it, and he's all smiling and happy, and so everybody's like, Blake, gross. And Mercy feels better and steals one of Alex's cheeseburgers now.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Yeah. And this is where Alex figures out how to protect herself from a gluma.
Okay.
Basically, she has to carry a really tightly wound wristwatch.
Okay.
Because they don't they don't like that.
Okay, that's good. Me neither.
I guess the ticking confuses them.
I don't know.
You're like, oh, a ghostly bomb.
Okay.
I don't know. And so this is where she goes to Tara's house. Now to get into Tara's house, she had taken a mirror, a compact. But when she opened the compact up to look at it, there was a smear on it. So she cleans the mirror, and then she heads over to Tara's house.
Why is that important?
You find out later.
Okay.
Sorry, we're not going to jump to the end at this point. She uses this compact, and there's a guy coming out of Tara's apartment building. And so she uses the compact, and she aims at his face. A beam of light shoots out, hits him in the face. And he's like, what the heck? And she's like, sorry, closes it.
Sorry.
And then she like puts it on her face, and it makes her look like him, so she can get past the cop that's standing guard.
It's pretty cool magic.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So then she goes into Tara's house, and she's in Tara's house, and what does she find? She finds a retainer.
Ooh.
A retainer would have a lot of effluvia. And so she gets that, she fills the sink, and she passes the retainer through the water to North. North is the bridegroom, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier.
Yeah.
So she gives it to North,
Uh-huh.
and then she is promptly attacked by a man. A huge man.
In Tara's apartment?
Yes.
Okay, but before that, she's already like looked around and saw all the drug paraphernalia, and she seen like this golden thing, and she's like, Tara wouldn't have had gold. She must have been working for somebody rich.
So this guy, he comes in, he starts beating her up, and
yeah, he just like comes through the wall, right?
Yeah, and so he's choking the ever loving
So she
crap
thinks
out
he's a
of her.
ghost, but she's like, Turner can see him too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But before Turner even gets there, she sucks North into herself,
Oh yeah.
so that she has that ghostly.
She doesn't realize what she's doing though.
Yeah.
She like reaches out for him.
Yeah, and she pulls him into her, and then she beats the guy with a club and breaks his hand. And then he just starts using portals to jump in and out and beat her up. And Turner shows up, and Turner's like, "What the heck?"
Yeah.
Um,
And she's like, see, it's real.
Then we go to chapter 18, where Darlington and Alex go to Rosenfels.
So we're back in the past again?
Apparently, because Darlington is in the book here. So we are way in the past.
Okay.
But it's also called St. Elmo's.
Yeah, that's another house.
Yeah. But they go to stop these storms that are happening at St. Elmo's. They find a portal in the basement after they stop the storms. This is when Darlington realizes that in Alex's past, because he had looked into her past, and her friend Helly had died, and there were a bunch of people murdered.
And she was like the only survivor.
And she was the only survivor, and she had no blood on her or nothing. And he realizes how she did it. But he realizes she let a ghost in, and the ghost and her killed everybody that was there. So Darlington has that thought, and then he goes to try and close the portal, and instead he gets sucked in.
He's like, it's not a portal, it's a
Yeah. A murder.
It's a murder.
It's a murder.
So Alex and Darlington are kind of weird right now because she knows that he knows the truth about her. That's what she keeps saying. She has a lot of guilt, and she's like, oh, he knows the truth.
But fortunately, he was just sucked into a black maw. So, yeah. Are you even on the screen?
I went through the portal.
So now we go into a flashback with Alex.
We just were in a flashback.
No. We were in Darlington's flashback.
So we're going to go back to Helly and Len and Alex.
Okay. Yes. And so there's a guy named Antoine, and he was Len's dealer. Antoine had a cousin named Ariel. Len and Ariel hit it off. They're going to have a party. And Alex and Helly decide, yeah, I don't want to be a part of that. I've heard really bad things about Ariel.
Yeah, he's not a good guy.
In fact, Antoine had sent his girls away while Ariel was there. Because Ariel has a really bad reputation as being brutal. So Alex and Helly, they don't want to be there for that. So they decide to go catch a movie. Alex falls asleep. Alex pulls a Phoebe.
Yeah.
Alex pulls a Phoebe, falls asleep. When she wakes up, Helly's not there.
Yeah.
Helly had gone back to the party.
And Alex is left there without a ride home or anything.
Right, right. So Alex is trying to make her way back. She finally gets back.
Hours later.
And Helly comes and lays down beside her. And
she's just saying, no.
And Alex had fallen asleep there with Helly beside her. And
she fell asleep again?
Yeah, and when she
woke
up, she went to like touch Helly or something, and her hand slipped through.
Yeah.
And you find out that Helly had actually died of a fentanyl overdose.
I thought she died of other stuff.
Well, there was other stuff that had happened, but the cause of death was fentanyl.
Oh.
She had way too much in her system.
Basically, she went back to the party with Ariel so that Helly wouldn't, or that Alex wouldn't. And she was going to take the brunt of all of it to protect Alex.
And she did. But what ended up happening is Len and his right-hand man like panic, and
they see Helly's dead body.
And they're going to take her and dump her in an alley. Yeah. And Alex is like, you can't just dump her like garbage. That's,
Yeah.
she's really torn up by this. And they're like, get the door. And as they're walking out, they go past Ariel, and he's like yelling at them to shut up because he's trying to get some sleep. And they're like, Alex, open the door. And instead, she locks it, and she lets Helly in.
So Helly's ghost is still sitting there by her, right?
Yeah, well, Helly's ghost was starting to leave, and Alex was like, no, come back.
Yeah.
And so Helly's ghost comes into her body, and she proceeds to kill everybody that was at the party. Yeah. In fact, they said that the bat was so destroyed there were only splinters left.
So with the power of the ghost, like the ghost has unlimited power or something because it's not like a human body.
Yeah.
And so she and Helly killed everybody.
Everybody there.
Then, while Helly is still in her body, she walks her out of there, takes her to a river, gets her in the river, gets her completely cleaned up so she doesn't have any blood or anything on her. But she had just enough fentanyl in her system that then she went back. Did she go back to the party?
She does. She goes back.
And she goes back and lays down.
Lays down, and then she's I think it's
the cops find her.
Yeah, the cops find her, and they find out that she has fentanyl in her system. But you find out later on that the fentanyl was a transfer from Helly to keep her out of trouble. So now
we know why. We know how Helly died. That's been the mystery the whole time.
Alex pulls North back in to help fight the mechanic in Tara's apartment. Turner enters, and the mechanic disappears. And Turner's like,
how was that guy here?
How was that guy here? That's Lance.
Yeah, and he was locked up.
He's been locked up. In fact, I just left him. And then Alex tells Turner to take her to Dawes. And then Dawes sends Turner to go get all the goat's milk he can get. Turner helps her get into the crucible, and they pour all of the goat's milk over her, and it heals her body.
When it turns clear?
Yeah. North shows up again, and he saw what she'd done.
Yeah, and North can't talk to her unless it's through water.
Water, right.
So if he's just standing there next to him, she can't. She can kind of ignore him and kind of like...
Yeah. Or she can use death words and drive him away. But
him.
Yeah, so North re-enters Alex. This time against her will.
Oh.
And this is where she sees what happened to Daisy.
Okay.
And
spill it.
When it happened, she sees him, and she can feel what he's feeling, and he's like all confused because somebody's like playing in his guts and trying to steal his soul and doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
And then he's holding an object he can't see, and then the next thing he knows, he's dead.
Yeah.
So a ghost had entered North, found North's gun, killed Daisy, and then killed himself, so that they couldn't continue doing things to his body, even though obviously he was already a ghost.
Yeah, so the ghost was real confused, and they were collateral damage, basically.
Yeah. And according to this, Alex realizes that stray magic may have caused North and Daisy's death. Turner shows up again now and shows her that Lance disappears from jail.
Shows the video footage?
Yeah, he shows like the video footage. They're walking, and then they turn a corner, and Lance just vanished when they turned the corner, so he was gone. So then they go into discussing who had motives, and to be honest with you, at this point, it sounds like everybody had a motive.
To kill Tara.
To kill everybody.
To kill Tara is what we're talking about.
Yeah, to kill Tara.
Okay.
Yeah. Then we go into the next chapter. This is with Alex going to Bellbaum's party. So she finds out that Colin, one of the undergrads for Bellbaum.
We should call her Bellbottom.
Bellbaum. Oh my goodness. Has an alibi. So does Dean Sandow. because she's thought the whole time that one of these two could have been involved.
Mm-hmm.
And she finds out that Sveta, notice I spelled it with an F instead of a V for
She's
some
Dean
reason.
Sandow's secretary?
No, Sveta Myers was growing the Meredy.
Oh, okay.
So now she knows who's growing it. They decide that she needs to talk to Lance. They use the compact again, and they get the image of Lance's lawyer.
Oh, yeah.
And they put it on Detective Turner, and then him and Alex sneak into the jail, and they start talking with Lance. He tells them who all was involved. Sveta, Colin, Kate. There was just a list. Colin took him to various rituals, and she also found out that Colin and Blake knew each other from rugby.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. But how are they involved with Tara? So they figure out that Manuscript has decided that they want to have a workaround to getting the herb that they need for Meredy because it's expensive. So they hire that girl Sveta to grow it or whatever.
Right.
And then somehow Tara and Lance had gotten a hold of a little bit of it and started like concocting with it. And Colin could see that she was like gifted at that, so he gave her the little golden crucible. And then she was like making up stuff for it.
Yeah, she was making like a pill.
And she and Lance decided to like sell it on their own. And Lance started selling it to Blake, right? And that's how Blake was getting a hold of it.
That's how Blake got the Meredy.
And Lance was like, it didn't even do anything. So I was just selling it to him. He was paying me for something that was like worthless.
But it was the portal pills that.
Oh,
so it wasn't the
really
Meredy.
She was really gifted at making these portals that made it so that they could go like anywhere in the world.
Right, the pills. But the Meredy he was selling because he tried it, and he was like there was no high there.
Yeah.
And so Blake kept wanting.
So that's how Tara's involved, is because Colin hired her to make portal pills.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So Alex is on her way to Black Elm. To work on pulling Darlington back.
Oh, this is where they're going to do the ritual.
Right, this is the ritual.
At the full moon.
She does find Darlington's notebook.
Uh-huh.
And the only thing that's in it is North First. That's when Michelle, who was
Darlington's Virgil.
I might get that right at some point.
It's alright, because by the time you do, you're not going to think
about
this book again.
I know, we're almost done with it. So her and Sandow arrive. They start a procedure.
Yeah, they need her to do the ritual.
Right. So they start a procedure to call Darlington back. Something to do with hounds.
Yeah, they send out these hounds into the underworld or something to try to find him, to sniff him out.
Instead, what they get was a horned monster was drawn.
Mm-hmm.
And Sandow shuts it down. He puts a stop to it, and then he explains that it's a hell beast, and that the hell beast must have consumed Darlington, and that's why the hell beast was summoned.
And the thing that Darlington thought was a portal was a mouth. So he was actually sucked into this demon's mouth. And because Sandow banished him, it makes it so Darlington can't ever come back.
Right.
And Alex is like, what? We did not agree to that.
We didn't. We did not.
No.
There was no mouths involved. Anyhow, so now Alex decides to take Dawes back to Il Baston.
Okay.
That's one of their
safe
houses, hidey hole. It's also like where their collection of
their library is.
Yeah, all their good stuff.
Okay.
All their good stuff. Dawes wants Alex to stay, but Alex is upstairs getting some stuff, and there's a knock at the door, and they hear answer the door, and Dawes was going towards the door, and Alex runs down the stairs because she can feel a compulsion.
Yeah.
And she's yelling, "Don't open the door!"
Open the door.
And it turns out that it was Blake Keeley. That's
and
the rapist from earlier.
Coming back to enact vengeance.
Enact vengeance.
And she puts Dawes' headphones on, right?
Right. So anyhow, he's using Stardust. So she puts Dawes' headphones in. It helps, and the house itself is like blaring music to help.
Try to help her.
Yeah. Blake like knocks her down and takes the earbud out, and he silences her.
Yeah.
And makes her lay motionless.
Mm-hmm.
And he has a knife. And he's gonna kill her. And Dean Sandow shows up.
He just like comes strolling in.
Yeah, he comes strolling in.
And she's like, "Don't listen to him," like that.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so Blake tells Sandow to stab Alex in the heart.
Oh.
And he's using Stardust, so you have to listen to him, just like he had to eat poop.
Yeah.
When Alex told him to. While Alex is laying there and Sandow has the knife, he's going to stab her. She remembers that this house is protected by the jackals.
Mm-hmm.
And so she calls the jackals. And the jackals come in, they attack Sandow, they attack Blake. In fact, it said that Sandow's leg was snapped. Blake slams Alex's head into the ground, and she feels like she's about to die. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, Blake goes slack. Mm-hmm. Dawes to the rescue. She took a statue and just smashed him.
The Hiram whatever statue, the guy that the house was built for or something.
Yeah. Yes. And smashed him with a hammer.
Yeah.
Alex wakes up in the hospital, so she goes down the hall and climbs in bed with Dawes.
Okay.
And Detective Turner brings in the dean.
So now they're besties.
Yeah, they realize that Blake was behind all of it. Tara's murder, everything. And Alex says, well, who sent the Gluma? And who sent the monster for Darlington?
Because Blake can't do that.
Blake is very non-technical. And then Alex argues with Dean Sandow because somebody should pay. And
Dean Sandow's like, well, they're probably not going to because it's a funding year.
Yeah, and they'll have a meeting in New York and blah 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 blah.
We'll see what happens.
We'll see. Probably slap on her wrist. And so Alex like sneaks out of the hospital. And she goes to York and Elm. Alex is hanging out there, just pretty much stinking up the place. Somebody like is throwing rocks at the window, and it smashes one of the windows.
Yeah.
And so Alex finds out that it's Mercy and
her mama.
Her mom, Mira. Alex is in the process of healing, and she decides she's going to go back to class. So she goes to class. Right? What can go wrong from there?
Santa had also told her, don't worry, I'm going to make it so you get grades good enough to pass.
Oh, yeah. And
so she's like,
And Dawes was like 3.5.
Yeah, Dawes was like fighting for her to get a good grade. Yeah.
Anyhow, Dawes is cool at this point. So she's in class. North jumps into her body.
He's been trying to get her attention.
Yeah, he's been walking around, and she keeps throwing out those death words at him. Because she's like, he did kill her.
So she's mad because she's like, you did kill her.
Yeah.
And so he gets desperate, so he jumps into her body.
Yeah, he jumps into her body, and like she has to run out of class, and because she's got like blood all over her face, her nose is bleeding.
Because she like smashed her face or something.
No, I just think it's because of the possession that she had a bloody nose. So she returns to Il Baston, and she's using the library system, and she finds Darlington's notes.
So he had notes. She found the notebook.
She found the notebook, but he had notes, and he had hidden them in the book. When North jumped into her, he gave her like these dates. Yeah. There were like 3 dates.
And the notes have the dates on them. She was looking at what corresponded with the dates, and it's a bunch of girls' names.
Right, and so she's trying to figure out how that correlates to the nexus of power that's below each of these tombs that the different
Because there's
secret
also a
societies.
note of the name of the tomb or something by that girl's name.
Then she was like, wait a minute. There was something glinting in Blake's other hand. So one of them had a dagger. So she goes and looks upstairs and she finds a coin of compulsion, which is usually only used by the Leigh House members. And it would make Blake do whatever they wanted to. So
now she knew he was attacking her because somebody told him to.
Right. And she thinks she knows who.
Mm-hmm.
#1 suspect from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
#2 if you're me.
Really? Because it was #1 for me.
Oh.
And then #2 became #1.
Your #2 was my #1.
Ah. Do you have any idea what we're talking about?
Who could we be thinking is the bad guy?
So Alex goes to Bell Bomb's.
She finds out that Dean Sandow is at Bell Bomb's party.
Correct. So she goes to the party. She finds Dean Sandow. She confronts him.
Yeah, she's like, I found the papers that you wanted about the something deed. And he's like, oh, let's go talk.
Yeah, so they go into a separate room, and she's like, aha! And he's like, yep.
Yeah. And he just confesses to all of it.
That was me. I did it.
Yeah.
He admits that he sent the Gluma, and he asks what... and he's like, what do you want?
Yeah.
Right?
So he
he's
also
like
confessed to the fact that he figured out that he could make a nexus. Well, he thought he could make a nexus by killing a girl.
Correct.
So he tried it, and it didn't actually work.
It did not. Sandow uses star power to compulse her, and Alex summons in North.
Okay.
So she's
because he's been following her this whole time.
Yeah, so she's pulling in North. At this point, Bell Bomb enters, and Sandow compulses her to go get help. But Bell Bomb is immune.
She can't be compulsed.
Wonder why. Evil. Bell Bomb can see North, and North leaves Alex. So
not only can she see him, she's like, "Hi, Birdie."
Birdie, yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's what Daisy always called him, was Birdie. And so she starts talking to North as Daisy, and
she loses her accent that she had this whole time.
And she explains that she could see grays, and
she was like Alex.
Which they called a wheel watcher. One of them had entered her, and she pushed it out, and it went into North. And then North killed her and himself.
So that poor soul who'd gotten killed by the prognostication ritual that they were doing had wandered into her body because it could tell she was a wheel watcher, right?
Right.
And then she pushed it right out into North. North grabbed a gun and killed them both.
Daisy realized that she could inhabit other bodies.
Yeah.
So she enters the body of Gladys the maid and eats her soul.
Yeah.
And
it sustains her, like it keeps her alive for a while. So now she's Gladys.
She said that is actually what caused the nexus of power, is when she ate the soul out of another human. At this point, Bell Bomb's had enough of Sandow. So she kills him, eats his soul. She's going to inhabit Alex and eat Alex's soul from the inside, so that she has the new body again.
And because she finds that she can last longer
if she eats the wheel watchers. Yeah.
And also, that's why North could never find Tara or Daisy or any of the women that were in Dante in Darlington's notes. Because when you get your soul eaten, you don't go to the afterworld. That's why he could never find them.
Alex decides, I've had enough of this.
Yep.
And so she opens it up and commands all the Greys in New Haven to inhabit her body. They start pulling all the different souls out of Bell Bomb. Daisy and Gladys.
Weaker.
Right, until eventually she has no souls left and just collapses into a pile of dust.
Mm-hmm. Bye-bye, evil lady.
Alex is attending Sandow's funeral. Pam, Dawes, and Alex ask Michelle to help with an issue. And she realizes the Jean de Monts wasn't what she heard. It was gentleman demon.
That was the thing that she heard when she was in the underworld.
Right.
Or in the Nile area.
And she realized it meant Darlington because he was considered the gentleman of Lethe. And so they realized that rather than being eaten, he has been turned into a demon instead. So the three of them decide they're going to go rescue Darlington.
The end.
The end. Wait for the next book.
That's how it ends on a cliffhanger. So Barugo's got to write us a story about how to go rescue a demon.
Yeah.
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 So, fabulous retelling, my friend.
Thank you.
Would you read anything by this author? So I have already read Six of Crows. I've already read...
What is that?
So she has like a bunch of series. I've already read like 3 or 4 maybe more of her books. And this is a brand new series for her.
Oh.
So I like her. Previously, all the books that I've read from her are young adult. This is not young adult. We didn't say that at the beginning. This is adult. There's lots of triggering topics discussed. There's lots of language. So would you read this author again?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I didn't like the jumping around, and I'm not usually a fan of the occult.
Okay. Fair.
So if she did something else that was a little more linear, or had to do with any of the topics that I enjoy, possibly.
Okay.
Because it wasn't a bad read.
She has this whole other universe, and then she writes these stories about characters in this universe. What was your favorite part of this book?
I think my favorite part of this book was the when Alex died.
I like that part too.
It was a really interesting read because she was talking about like the stars. The stars didn't align, and just like the crocodiles couldn't hurt her, but they could hinder her. And when she would say certain things, the entire like dead would just be like, no, and it was pretty cool.
Yeah,
it was pretty cool.
Maybe you do like the occult.
No, I don't.
So this is a series. Da da da. Well, thanks for reading this book with me. I enjoyed it as always. It makes the reading experience more enjoyable for me to be able to discuss it with you after.
Nice.
So
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
You know what you have to do next is pick the next book. All right, well, thanks for joining us for this recap of a book that I really enjoyed and recommended if you like all the things that Tim just said.
Yeah.
And we'll see you back for the next one.
Yep, we'll be here.
If you didn't check out our most recent video before this was another monthly recap of TV shows. So go check that out if you want to hear about 9 more TV shows we tried. That means we've watched 27 shows. 27 new shows in the last 3 months.
Feels like 270.
Let us know down below if you've read this book, if you're planning to read it, what your thoughts are, if you disagreed with us, if we missed like some major important things. Well, we'll see you back very soon. Take care. Have a great rest of your day, and thanks for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you later. Bye.